Welcome to SVG-TV News for Tuesday, March 3rd, 2015. I am Jennifer Richardson with the details. The St. Vincent and the Grenadines Teachers Union has expressed what it described as serious concern over the manner in which one of its members was recently treated by the law enforcement authorities. Joseph Bibi, a graduate teacher at the Bishop's College School in Kingstown, was arrested yesterday and slapped with 2 counts of obscene publication on the social network site Facebook on February 17, 2015. Earlier today, Public Relations Officer of the Union, Wendy Bino, read to SVG-TV News a statement issued to the media on the issue in which the Union made it clear of its support for Bibi, noting that the law presumes one innocent until proven guilty.
The alleged use of the major crime unit, for whatever reason, might be analogous to the proverbial sledgehammer to kill an ant. While the Union recognizes free expression and does not condone the violation of the laws of St. Vincent and the Grenadines in any form, the reported grounds for and manner in which the member was brought before the law are cause for great concern.
According to Bino, the Union continues to support members' rights to continue to share their views on national issues.
Object 2.17 of the SVGTV's Constitution states that the object of the Union shall be to seek to exert the influence of teachers on all matters of national importance. It is a family when we are at SVGTU, and we stand in solidarity with any member. We do not abandon them.
Meanwhile, Bibi appeared at the Kingstown Magistrates Court this morning and pleaded not guilty to the charges. She is now on station bail, which was granted by the police. The trial is set for March 17, 2015. Chief Cultural Officer in the Department of Culture, Anthony Tibbles, says the misconceptions that the Eastern Caribbean collective organization ECHO is attempting to shut down music businesses in this country is untrue. In an interview with SVG-TV earlier today, Tibbles says ECHO has been established to keep businesses in compliance with the copyright laws as it pertains to music, and is also there to ensure that writers and artists get paid for their creative work. He explains that members in the Eastern Caribbean and Barbados have been complying with the rules and regulations that relates to licenses for music on a commercial scale, but this country continues to be tardy in the process.
And we in St. Vincent own a shop or own an entertainment establishment, and we want to tell the ECHO agent, go about your business, me not paying no license. Or you have a radio station whose existence depends on playing music, who doesn't want to negotiate and get into discussion about putting themselves right with the law. It is only in St. Vincent and the Grenadines that we're doing this kind of foolishness.
Tibbles further points out that the license is not only for entertainment entities, but for minivan drivers who use music to attract passengers.
People operate minivans in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and they play music in those minivans. Not just turn on the radio, but they play particular taped music, particular songs that they have chosen, that they feel by having them played loud enough will make people more interested in riding in their particular van. That is not just casual music use. That is commercial music use, because you are choosing the songs with the hope that when the people hear that song, they're going to ride in your van. There is a license for using music in your van in that kind of a way.
The Chief Cultural Officer says the belief that not playing local artists would exempt commercial music users from accessing the license is incorrect. He says soon regional and international artists, dead or alive, through their agents will seek to retrieve royalties for their creative rights.
Since I ain't playing people who are attached to ECHO are cool, well, I'm sorry to tell you that you're not cool. You play Beyonce, Beyonce has to collect her royalties. How does she collect her royalties? Her organization talks to ECHO, Echo says, well, your song played X number of times, you are entitled to X number of dollars from St. Vincent, here it is. You decide you're not playing Beyonce, who are you going to play? Oh, you want to play Michael Jackson because he's dead. Well, I'm sorry to tell you, Michael Jackson has an estate. Copyright exists not only in the creator's work, but persists for 75 years after his death. So, Michael Jackson's estate wants their royalties for Michael Jackson songs. St. Vincent, where's your society? Oh, it's Echo. Echo, where is your money for Michael Jackson?
For more information of the operations of Echo and the financial rates for copyright work, persons are asked to visit Echo's website at www.echorights.org/about_us.php. I hope you got that. The relevant proposals and documentations are currently being put in place for a government-owned company to manage the operations of the Argyle International Airport upon completion. Responding to a question in Parliament today by Opposition Leader Annie Eustace about the projected cost and management of the airport when it is completed, Prime Minister Dr. Rav Gansab says it is intended for the airport to be managed by a state-owned company. Dr. Gansab also explains that there will be separation between the actual management of the airport and the technical components, which will be managed by the Director of Airports. According to PM Gonsalves, the relevant authorities here have been holding talks with 7 international airlines, including JetBlue, American Airlines and British Airlines, to fly to St. Vincent and the Grenadines upon completion of the international airport.
T.T. Joshua, the Director of Airports, also manages the airport. But there will be a difference at the Argyle International Airport, in keeping with modern international airports. Mr. Speaker, in respect of the airlines which are targeted, and again the authorities who are involved in this, under my own guidance, they have been in touch, or the airlines in touch with them. American Airlines, JetBlue, Delta, Spirit, WestJet, British Airways, and Caribbean Airlines. At the appropriate time, when all arrangements are being made for any of these airlines, I will, as usual, within the tradition of openness and transparency of this government, present information to the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
According to Prime Minister Gonsalves, the total projected cost of the Argyle International Airport upon completion is approximately $700 million, and of that amount, $160 million is in-kind contributions. Dr. Gonsalves says, as at the end of December 2014, his government would have spent just over $435 million on the project. While statistics show that fewer than 100 students at the primary level have prematurely exited the school system from 2009 through 2014, figures obtained from the Education Statistical Digest 2013 to 2014 show that the most significant reason for the exits was migration. Speaking in Parliament earlier today, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Education, Gurlid Miguel, says it is important to note that students do drop out of school for a number of reasons, and it is a matter that merits the attention of the Ministries of Education, Mobilization and Health. Miguel says the problem can be addressed only marginally unless the parents and primary caregivers of the vulnerable students fulfill their parental obligations.
In examining the dropout figures at the primary level for the period 2009 to 2014, it is evident that the number of persons exiting the cycle prior to graduation ranges between 0.2% and 0.6%, which is less than 1% over the 5-year period. And as of the 2013-2014, the data capture instrument was amended to provide more detailed information regarding the reasons for pupils dropping out from their respective cycles. Previously, all persons exiting the system were classified as dropouts for reasons such as pregnancy, death, transfers, or migration. Hence, for the first time in 2013-2014, figures obtained from the Education Statistical Digest 2013-2014, which is available online, www.stats.gov.vc, state that the most significant reason for exiting the system was migration.
The Education Minister further explains that of the 84 students who left school at the primary level over a 5-year period, 69 were migrants.
It's noteworthy that between 2009 and 2014, the number of pupils exiting the cycle prematurely was less than 100 of more than 13,000 enrolled. Mr. Speaker, our government is doing real well. And it would really be remiss of me if I did not mention to this honorable House the safety net that is in place to help our students. Mr. Speaker, I want to make reference of the school feeding program, the subsidized transportation, the uniform, the book loan scheme, the public assistance given for rent and for helping the students with food. All this is given to parents, the counseling programs, the parenting programs, teen moms support program, special support to challenged students, paying examination fees for the needy, providing money for medical care for sick students. Mr. Speaker, our safety net is second to none in this region.
Coming up, Controller of the Inland Revenue Department encouraging more persons to file their taxes online. More stories on the local scene when SVG-TV News continues. Don't go away. The Inland Revenue Department is encouraging more persons to utilize the Electronic Personal Income Tax Filing System, the PIT. Controller Kelvin Pompey says the e-filing service has been in place since 2013, and while some persons have been utilizing it, they would like to see more persons taking advantage of the service, which he says is quite easy and user-friendly.
And as I speak, we have our tax personnel out in different departments and ministries and private sector actually assisting taxpayers in filing returns electronically. We also have put system structures in place to assist persons within the department who can come in at the department to get returns filed. To access the e-filing service, you need photo ID, your pay slip or TD5 slip for the year 2014, as well as an email address. Once you have those, you can visit the department and we will essentially have you filing electronically within a matter of minutes.
Pompey says the department is not able to accommodate all employees coming to the office to file their taxes and is encouraging persons who have access to computers to do so online. The department is observing Tax Awareness Month with a series of activities under the theme Tax Compliance, a Shared Responsibility to Build a Sustainable Economy. A church service will be held on Monday, March 9th at the Kingstown Methodist Church. A workshop which seeks to develop local capacity in the use of energy-efficient software modeling and integration of energy efficiency rating systems got underway here today. It is part of a GEF UNEP Energy for Sustainable Development in Caribbean Buildings ESD project, which is being conducted in 5 CARICOM countries, namely Grenada, Antigua and Barbuda, Belize, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The project seeks to transfer and implement sustainable energy policies, instruments, and knowledge in these countries through the promotion of energy efficiency applications and renewable energy use within the residential and public building sector. Addressing the opening of the workshop earlier today, Regional Technical Coordinator of the ESD project, Devon Gardner, noted that energy reduction through efficiency measures costs far less than some, if not all, of the renewable energy measures currently being adopted.
Like changing lights are so obvious, but we sometimes overlook them because we see them as too basic. But the point is that, you know, in the principles in which we operate, we want to emphasize that good energy governance or good energy management starts with reduction in demand first through energy efficiency implementation. and then we look at the opportunities for providing that power that we need, because we can, it's no longer cost effective to reduce anymore. We then provide what we need through other cost effective means.
He also noted that countries in the region, particularly CARICOM, do not use energy efficiently enough, and this needed to change. According to Gardner, the average usage of energy in the region is higher than some of the more progressive countries, such as the USA, Mexico, and Japan.
So even though some of us are doing okay, Barbados being significant, a significant one for highlight, most of us are not okay. Even St. Vincent and the Grenadines is not okay. St. Vincent and the Grenadines is somewhere around 9,000 BTU per US dollar of GDP, and the world average is somewhere around the same. And we consider that the fact that the world have a lot of inefficient societies, then we really should have been doing better than the world average if we want to say we are an efficient society, not being exactly the same as the world average. Yeah. And if one understands how this fits into the context of economics, we have plotted what they call a productivity chart, an energy productivity chart, and we can look to St. Vincent and the Grenadines there and see where we can find it. SVG is below, it's what we would refer to as a moderately efficient society, and it's barely moderately efficient because it barely crossed over the moderately efficient line. But it's nonetheless unproductive in the way in which it utilizes that energy.
As it relates to sustainable energy in buildings, Gardner says one must first look at the energy services a particular building requires and not how much electricity it needs.
Because that is how we always start by saying, how much electricity will this building use? And we take the bills and we say, okay, this building uses about 1,500 kilowatt hours per month, or 10,000 per month, depending on whether it's a large commercial or a small building. And we say, this is how much it uses, and we start to look at electricity. But we never ever spend time to look at the energy services. And the question we need to ask is, what are the energy services, and what can we separate from the grid? And what do we need to keep on the grid? For instance, if there's water heating, can we take that water heating off the grid and do it through some offset, some other device, some other technological device, such as solar water heaters? If we are doing cooling, what are the opportunities to do direct cooling through probably LPG firing versus doing electric cooling through an electric chiller? We don't have to think about everything in terms of electricity, but think about it in terms of energy services, and where are the available sources that are there for us to take advantage of providing these services to the most cost-effective means.
Meanwhile, Director of Telecommunications Dr. Gerald Thompson told the gathering his government supports the policy of linking energy with sustainable development, and that SVG is poised to become a leader with respect to renewable energy.
In 2009, St. Vincent Grenadines was the first island in the OECS to develop a national energy policy. And in 2010, we developed our National Strategy and Action Plan. In 2011, we were the first to develop an energy efficiency policy. We did audits on some 75 government buildings. We later came back and did it on some tourism and some other facilities. But we were only able to deal substantially with 5 of those government buildings because of financial resources. So we know what's been done with the financial complex and the savings we've made, changing of the AC, lighting, putting solar PV on the roof, and so we made some significant savings there. And great if we could replicate that. And a number of years ago, when Sadiq, last year, had told me about what was taking place at a particular building. You mentioned it, the National Library. I mean, we were shocked, but we recognized that a tremendous amount of our buildings, they look beautiful, look wonderful, but the standpoint of energy efficiency, it may not really have all the details. And we hear about green buildings, but there isn't, from a Caribbean point of view, sufficient standards and efforts made in developing a major energy component to a building code. Now, we've passed a new building code, but we know that we have to revise certain aspects of the building code to make sure that there's a very strong energy efficiency component built into that.
The workshop taking place at the conference room of the Energy Unit will wrap up here on Friday. Under the theme Appreciating Our Identity, Preserving Our Heritage with Pride, the Department of Culture will host 3 major activities to commemorate Heritage Month. Chief Cultural Officer Anthony Tibbles told SVG-TV News that among the activities his department is responsible for executing is the wreath-laying ceremony at the obelisk at Dorsetshire Hill on March 14th, the remembrance of E.T. Joshua on March 7th at the Kingston ceremony, and the remembrance of Robert Milton Cato and Phyllis Ponette at the Calico Cemetery on March 24th. Tibbles says his department is also aware and will be recognizing a number of other activities that will be held throughout the month by different organizations and groups.
Additionally, we are aware of the fact that the Association of Music Professionals is doing their music awards on the 6th of March. We are aware of the fact that International Women's Day is the 8th of March Sunday, and there are programs being presented by the Department of Gender Affairs. We are also aware that the Botanic Gardens is doing a special commemoration. They're opening up a Zen garden or a stone garden, and its major feature is going to be a very extensive stone on which they want to present the names of heroes. So the first hero, of course, is Joseph Chatoyer. So we are aware of these programs. There may be other things that people are doing. We are aware of the fact that the Garifuna Heritage Foundation is doing a special Garifuna conference on the 12th and 13th, and we are aware of the fact that their programming involves all that whole week from the 9th to the 14th.
Meanwhile, Tibbles says it is of great concern to him and his department that most of the activities are scheduled to be held on March 14th, National Heroes Day, and is urging persons to utilize other days of the month to host their events.
Please, there are 30 days in the month. I would like to recommend to the public, let us put some activities on other days. There is the weekend before, there is the weekend after, and there are the weekdays. Let's get a full month. And I want to thank the media, especially the radio stations who are doing special programming. I understand that there are going to be a number of articles in various newspapers as well. I thank the public who are taking these initiatives for their effort to recognize all the unsung heroes, all the persons who have contributed to nation building. Thank you very much for your interest. We do not celebrate Black History Month, which is February in North America. We celebrate March, and it is our time to look at our history and to be proud of ourselves.
Corez Hazels Incorporated has partnered with the Open Campus of University of the West Indies to award 2 students with bursaries worth $1,500 EC to assist with their studies. The awardees are Candice Trotman, who is currently reading for a Bachelor's of Education degree in Early Childhood Development and Family Studies, and Felix Richards, who is reading for a Bachelor's of Science degree in Accounting. Speaking at the handing over ceremony earlier today, head of the UWI Open Campus, Deborah Dalrymple, says that they are very grateful to Corez for its involvement with the university, adding that their bursaries will go a long way towards the students' education.
Students are as good or as bright or as intelligent as any student in any university, including the other 3 sister campuses. And very often, because our students are primarily adults with lots of responsibilities, sometimes it's not the workload that derails them from completing their degree, but sometimes it's all of the other obligations, including financial, that sometimes derails them. And at the Open Campus, we like to think that we're a lot more than just a group of people up on Murray's Road who take your money for your degrees. We like to think that we offer more than that. We offer support for the students in as many ways as we can. And we thought that perhaps we can approach the corporate sector to see whether or not they'd be willing to offer some bursaries. And as I said, Mr. Providence did not take any arm twisting or kneeling in front of his desk on my behalf, behalf, yes. But he was quite willing to offer these.
CEO of Correz Hazels Incorporated, Joel Providence, says the company has always taken its civic responsibility seriously and that they are pleased to be able to help students get closer to fulfilling their dreams.
Persons know in St. Vincent and Grenadines that Correz Hazels takes its civic responsibility quite seriously, and traditionally that we have been involved in supporting worthy projects at a national level, at a community level, and at an individual level as well. We have supported health projects, we have supported persons who are in need in terms of construction, in festivals, and even just today we are also preparing a contribution towards the Garifuna Heritage Foundation biennial conference, which will be taking place here in St. Vincent next week. Education and support for education of this type has not been directly on within the scope of our radar, and that is why I say that there is some hesitation. But at the same time, we recognize, upon assessment, we recognize the importance of the UWI Open Campus, its programs, and its role and contribution towards social and economic development here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. As a result, therefore, we feel that it is important for us to participate. There's a direct link between the money spent on education at a national level and economic growth. That has been empirically proven.
Meanwhile, head of the Open Campus, Deborah Dalrymple, says a selection panel will be established to help identify the students in need for future bursaries. She proceeded to list the criteria in which students are selected.
From here on in, we would be forming a panel which would include Open Campus staff and members of staff from Correz, so that we can do selection. We invite people to apply, and then we do a selection. Bursaries are worth $1,500 EC. So we thought we'd offer to students who are already in the program. So the bursary is offered to ongoing students in the second semester of each year. And this way, part of the bursary is that you have to be showing that you're keeping up with your studies, because there is a GPA average of 3.0. It's open to all the B.Ed and BSc students at the campus. You should have completed 1 year of study at the Open Campus to be eligible for this award. You have to show some financial need, but we also recognize that you have to also show your willingness to be able to keep up the other part of the bursary. You can't expect the bursary of $1,500 to carry you through. You have to show us that you are able to, maneuver your finances and your resources to be able to come.